The office of the municipal clerk is a time-honored and vital part of local government and exists throughout the world. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas the municipal clerk has pledged to be ever mindful of neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center of functions of local government and the community, and you get a lot of calls on a lot of issues, on things that don't even involve the town really sometimes. Many times. And we appreciate the care you take with each of those calls. Whereas the municipal clerk continually strives to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of Keith Hooker, town clerk of the town of Kernersville, now therefore I, Dawn Morgan, mayor of the town of Kernersville, do hereby recognize the week of May 3rd to May 9th as Municipal Clerks Week in Kernersville, North Carolina, and extend our appreciation to our town clerk, Keith Hooker, for the vital services he performs and his exemplary dedication to our community. So, congratulations, Keith. And as a small token of our appreciation, and I have to say, Keith and our deputy clerk, Beth, have followed in a line of very wonderful clerks that have served the town of Kernersville, but their participation in these state and national organizations has been exemplary, and they've brought a lot of great ideas back to our community from that participation. We really appreciate them going above and beyond and kind of leaving their families behind sometimes to travel to these things to better serve our community. Keith, would you like to say anything?
I just want to say, again, thank you to Town Manager Curtis Swisher, Town Attorney Ed Powell, Mayor Morgan, the board, all the department heads, all the town staff that I get the pleasure of working with, and all the citizens who are honestly an absolute joy to help and serve. And I appreciate every opportunity. It's been almost 11 years now, and I'm looking forward to many years ahead. Thank you.
Best is yet to come.
So May is also Law Enforcement Officers Week, and our Kernersville Police Chief, Jason Tilley, is here with me, who has a long and distinguished record in our department and serves very well as chief. We're very glad to have you. And we appreciate the telecommunicators, your non-sworn staff, and your sworn staff, and all they do for others in the community. But being a law enforcement officer is a difficult and challenging job, and I really appreciate the community engagement and the involvement in the community of the officers in personal ways and in community outreach. So we appreciate your department. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated that there be a National Law Enforcement Officers Week, whereas the members of the law enforcement agencies of North Carolina play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of the state, whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their law enforcement officers and agencies, and that members of those agencies recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. Whereas the citizens of Kernersville recognize and appreciate the contributions made by law enforcement officers at all levels of government. Now, therefore, I, Don Morgan, Mayor of the town of Kernersville, call upon all citizens to observe the week of May 10th to 16th as Law Enforcement Officers Week in Kernersville, and that all of our people join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities. In so doing, they have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. Thank you, Chief Tilley.
Thank you. I want to start off by thanking you, Mayor Morgan, Curtis Swisher, Town Manager, Ed Powell, Town Attorney, and the whole entire board for all the support that you guys give us. We couldn't do our job without your support. I want to thank the community. We are so blessed to work for you all. You support us so much, it's unbelievable. Thank you for your support. And last but not least, I want to thank the men and women of the department for their dedication to you all. They love working for this town. It's one of the big attractions to come to this department is this town. I also want to thank their families for supporting them during this job, because it is a tough job. Without our families, we couldn't do it. So thank you, everybody.
Proud of you. Proud of you.
All right, then. The next item on our agenda is speakers from the floor. And I do have several people signed up to speak, but if you would like to speak as a speaker from the floor and have not signed up to speak, I'd like you to do so at this time. We'll have to divide the time up by the number of speakers. So if there's anybody else, I've got John Lane, Claire Vogt, Jenny Fulton, and Lavon Moore. I do have 5 people signed up to speak from the floor. We typically, in the rules we've adopted, and the town clerk can go over them more thoroughly if you need him to. The rules we adopted for our procedural rules in December had 15 minutes, and the speakers having 5 minutes each. But I have 5 speakers signed up, so my understanding from the clerk's explanation is a motion by the board, we could give each speaker 5 minutes.
Madam Mayor, that's correct. Right now, it would be 15 minutes total divided among the 5 speakers. The board can, if it elects, choose to extend that time so that each person has 5 minutes.
Okay, I've got a motion by Alderman Apple, second by Sarah Savanas. All those in favor? It's unanimous. All right, the first speaker from the floor is John Lane. You could restate your name and your address and then proceed. And if you can speak from the microphone that way, that has a double bonus. We can hear you better, and also we are recording this and broadcasting it on YouTube, and so that will allow people watching on YouTube to hear you as well.
Perfect. John Lane, 931 Lake Drive, Kernersville, North Carolina. So I'm bringing it to your attention. Thank you for listening to me tonight, by the way. It's over the noise ordinance. I've lived in Kernersville my entire life. So love the town, love the city. Right now, I believe our noise ordinance during the week, Sunday through Thursday, 60 decibels. And I think, or 65, maybe vice versa. Friday, Saturday, 65, I think. Long story short, my kids, we have 4.5 acres of land in Kernersville, end of Lake Drive, of course. My kids do ride dirt bikes around, and the younger kids, the only one I let ride. Long story short, I was seeing if there's any possible way we could get that raised to a reasonable amount, nothing crazy, but to a 70 to 75 decimal points. I mean, I guess long story short, us talking in here right now, we're going to be anywhere from 55 to 60. So, long story short, wondering if there's any way we can raise it to where my kids can ride on their land without bothering neighbors, best way to put it, at a reasonable time of day, of course. Long story short, I had one neighbor that does complain a lot. The other ones are okay with it. I've talked to them. So that's pretty much what I'm asking, to see if y'all can look into that possibly, just so they can enjoy their summer. Best way to put it.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Curtis, if you could look into that and get back to the board at a later date.
Yeah, we'll look into it. I'll get with Chief Tilley. I know what Mr. Lane's referring to, and we'll kind of look and see what the other noise ordinance violations, the decibel levels they've been at as well, and get back with a recommendation to the board. I have Mr. Lane's contact information as well, so I'll get with him if we have any questions on it.
Thank you. All right, sound good? All right. Okay, Claire vote?
Good evening. My name is Claire Vogt. I live at 514 Bent Creek Trail. First, I'd like to thank you for hearing me, and I would like to thank you for your service and your time. I know it comes with a lot of headaches, a lot of long hours, and probably little appreciation, so thank you so much. It's not lost on me the privilege to be able to stand in front of my local leaders and question you without fear of retribution. We live in a wonderful, wonderful town and a wonderful country. With that said, I know it's not a secret that I am concerned about the upcoming community pool and aquatic center. I'm a huge fan of water and pools. I'm in one at least 3 days a week, and I have a son who's a competitive swimmer. But my concern is with the amount of taxes and the continued increase in everyday living. I'm concerned about fiscal responsibility. I have had the privilege to speak with John, who I know this was his brainchild, and I appreciate it, and I love his passion for it, as well as Mr. Ernie Page's with their ideas for it. But what I would like to, if you would humor me, I would like to ask each of you, do you support this at this time, and why? And hopefully that's less than 5 minutes.
I appreciate your question, but I'm not sure that's the proper format for it. You have the ability to talk to everybody outside of this meeting. So
Okay.
you do have 5 minutes, so please proceed if you have anything else to
Well,
say.
I simply wanted to do it in this forum simply so that others who are unable to attend the meeting might be able to see, but I certainly respect that, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Jenny Fulton.
Okay, thanks. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and the board. I'm Jenny Fulton. I live at 709 Oakhurst Street in Kernersville, North Carolina. The reason I'm here tonight is because the last 19 months, I've been with my family and my grandson in Chapel Hill and his medical issues. Hudson is now doing much better, even though we have another surgery coming, but I have time to voice my concerns. So thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. And I want to start with thanking you for your public service. I've sat in your seats. I know how hard it is. And so I want to thank you. And now I would also like to provide you a written copy of my public comments and respectfully request that they be included in the official Board of Aldermen meeting minutes and public record. Thank you, Curtis. I'm here tonight as a concerned resident and taxpayer. My concern is about the long-term financial impact of the community pool and the direction of the town's spending. The town budget went from $48 million to $56 million in 1 year. That's more than $8 million, and that just went from 2024 to 2026. The board also approved a tax rate of 50.9 cents, which is about a 9.5% higher than the revenue neutral rate. I understand the town has needs, but the revenue neutral rate could have provided some relief to citizens after their property values increased so much. At the same time, Kernersville already has about $41 million in long-term debt. And now the town is moving forward with a pool project that may cost about $16 million over 10 years, and that doesn't include any operating or maintenance cost. I understand the community pool may be viewed as a give back to the community, and I respect the desire to provide something positive for families. But I have to ask, at what cost? This is not just the cost to build the pool, it is a debt. Yearly operations, maintenance, repairs, staffing, insurance, utilities, chemicals, and future replacement cost. And realistically, this pool will not be a profitable investment for the town. Taxpayers will likely be expected to cover that difference year after year. I'm also concerned about the limited compared use. My understanding, the maximum use will be 300 people at one time. That's a small number compared to the size of our town. According to the U.S. Census Bureau in Kernersville, the estimated population was 28,760 people as of July 1st of 2024. That means the pool could only serve about 1% of the town's residents at one time, while all taxpayers will help carry the burden. You know, I think this is a long-term concern that many citizens may not fully understand. Families, seniors, and small businesses are already dealing with higher groceries, higher gas, higher insurance, higher taxes, and I believe the town should be just as careful with taxpayers' money as families are having to be with their own. This is not about being against children, families, recreation, or pools, okay? This is about responsible spending, transparency, and protecting taxpayers from long-term financial obligations. This board still has the ability to pause this project. Take another look at the full cost. Make sure citizens clearly understand what they are being asked to pay for, not just today, but for the years to come. A good town does not just build what sounds attractive. A good town protects taxpayers from financial obligations that outlast ribbon cuttings. I respectfully ask the board to pause this project and provide citizens with a clear and simple explanation of what the pool's truly going to cost year after year. Because once this project is built, the financial obligation doesn't end. It just begins. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is LaVon Moore.
Good evening. My name's LaVon Moore. I live at 250 Saddlewood Drive in Kernersville, North Carolina. Been here almost 40 years. It is my understanding that Kernersville is planning to put in a Kernersville pool. And it's supposed to be over by the new Lowe's food store, I believe. I don't know who voted to have this new public school pool in Kernersville. And I don't know who voted to have it at this location. My husband and I had not heard about the pool until just very, very recently. Spoken to several neighbors. They don't know about the pool. They're not happy about the pool. They didn't know that that as the taxes are going up, it was going to help pay for this pool. So why we don't know that, I don't know. We don't have a Kernersville paper anymore that comes to us. Maybe we should be more alert and pay more attention. But either way. The rezoning signs that are out there, we could also look at those. I don't even know if any of those rezoning signs have anything to do with the pool, but you have to get out of your car. You have to go and write down the number. You have to go look it up. And then if you go to the site, sometimes the information there is there and sometimes it's not. I'm sorry, I've lost my place. There are already several community pools. We have the YMCA pools. We have the pool at the big gym off of Old Winston Road. And there are pools at Kernersville churches. And there are many Kernersville residents that have pools in their own backyards. If y'all were dead set for putting in a new pool in Kernersville, I don't understand, I can't figure out why y'all would ever put one in an area of town that has the most backed up traffic of all the town. It makes no sense why y'all would put one there. If you're gonna put this pool anywhere, it only makes sense to maybe put it where Kernersville already has the sports complex over by Shields Road, or there's land over by the VA. There's land over by the medical hospital. There's probably other land too that the residents don't know about. Again, the traffic in the area that I understand is supposed to be where this pool is supposed to go is already undescribably jam-packed where you're planning to build it. I talked to several people in the community, again, that did not know, and they don't want the pool. And I didn't ask them, I didn't say to them, I don't want the pool. We have a community, we have a neighborhood pool. There's bunches of them in Kernersville. Bunches of neighborhood pools that have been here for a very long time. And so none of the neighbors that my husband or I have talked to want it. We've lived here, like I said, for over 30 years, and I think that the Kernersville families should have a vote on this. And everybody we talk to, nobody knows about it. Thank you to everybody else that's here saying the same thing.
Okay, John Barrow. If you could state your name and your address, please.
Thank you very much. My name is John Barrow. I live at 518 Bent Creek Trail here in Kernersville. I've been a resident of Kernersville for 70 years. And just to answer all the people that are moaning and groaning about the pool, I would tell you that this has come up before this board probably 10 times in the last 2 years. It's been on TV. If they wanted to gripe and moan about it, then was your time. The project's well underway, and it's well deserved. The town of Kernersville has not had a pool ever, and they reference a lot of neighborhood pools and different kinds of pools. Well, they're not open to everybody and all the public. I'll take responsibility for being the one that started the whole pool deal. And the whole idea, number one, they're putting it at Pope Park, which is land that the folks donated to the town of Kernersville, probably $60 or $80 million worth of land. I don't know exactly what it's worth, but nothing was paid for the land. The only thing we have to pay for is the pool. As far as the use for the pool, I don't know what everybody's thinking. Maybe it's a good time to go lounge around. The main reason the town has a pool is the same reason that we have trash trucks. It's the same reason that we have policemen. It's the same reason that we have a fire department. It's because the town has responsibilities to the people that live here, to the citizens. And it's up to the board to listen to the people and give effect to that. In this particular case, the town of Kernersville's done they do a survey every year, the rec department does, and at the top of the list every year is a pool. And the main reason that we have a pool, in my opinion, and like I say, I was in behind it 100%, is the town has an obligation to the youth of Kernersville. And that obligation is to teach them how to swim. Now, somebody's named all these different pools and private pools, and You know, if you were all into it and all civic and all, you'd be inviting people to your pool and teaching them how to swim. But that doesn't happen. And this pool's open for the citizens of Kernersville. They're going to teach the children of Kernersville how to swim. That's what's going to happen. And for every child that you teach how to swim, that's one person that's not going to drown. One person not drowned. That's worth it. That's worth it in and of itself. But you let somebody grow up and not know how to swim, you know, you see it all the time in the news. They fell in the water and they didn't come back up. It's because nobody taught them how to swim. Well, Kernersville is going to teach their young people how to swim. And that's a very worthy thing for the town of Kernersville to do. As far as the misconception about the taxes and taxes going up and all, I can tell you that the tax increase was revenue neutral. It affected different people different ways. Some people felt like they paid more or less, but the goal was revenue neutral. It was not raised to pay for the pool. And again, a good thing for the town to do is to teach the children how to swim. As far as where the pool's put, again, it's put on property that the Popes donated to the town of Kernersville, Scott Pope, and Scott Pope was behind the pool deal 100%. He thought it was a great idea. And him and his father, they've lived in mother and sister have lived here for probably 70, 80 years. They thought it was a great idea to have a community pool to teach the young people how to swim and give them a place to go in the summer. Something that's not been said is that, you know, they're talking about how much it's going to cost. Well, the pool's modeled after a pool in Thomasville. Thomasville has a brand new pool, and they have spaces in their pool building that they rent out year long to offset the cost of running the pool. It's not just a 3 or 4 month a year deal, it's 12 months a year. And to work back towards diminishing the cost of what it'll have to have the pool. I would just like to say, I've been here 70 years, I think the pool's a great idea. And what we were doing before the YMCA was just untenable. At $15 a head to get in, nowhere to sit, no lessons or anything. The pool's a great idea. It's something that a town this size should have. No reason not to. We spend a lot of money on a lot of different things, but in my opinion, the pool is just as responsible a thing for the town to do as to have a fire department, a police department, and to pick up your trash and your leaves. It's all right there together. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right. I think that is all of our speakers from the floor who have signed up. And so I think we can move on now to public session item 1B, presentation by Crossroads Playhouse regarding building for indoor performances.
I have visual aids.
You can
Catherine, can I give these to you?
introduce yourself, Katie.
Hi,
And,
I'm Katie Jo Eisenhower, 114 English Street, Kernersville, North Carolina. We walked here. Okay. Can I?
I mean, she's doing.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Tonight, Crossroads Playhouse would like to share with you a self-sustaining way to increase the downtown economy, provide more entertainment options for our residents and visitors to Kernersville, and enhance our town's reputation and relevance in the Triad Arts community. All of this simply by connecting our past to our future. But first, a story. There was a family having dinner at a local restaurant. The waitress, ever attentive, noticed that the husband wasn't eating his soup. Was it too hot? Maybe he was saving it for later. She wasn't sure. But after a while, she had to ask, "Is something wrong with your soup?" The husband answered with a question, "Would you try the soup?" "Oh, if it doesn't taste right, I can take it back." "No, I want the soup," he said calmly. "I just want you to taste it." She gave in and said, "Sure, I'll try the soup." "Where's the spoon?" He replied, "Aha." Kernersville has a great new sports facility. There are lovely parks, a nice library, wonderful health and safety services. We honor our history, and we have local performance artists. We're like the municipality of fine dining, but we're missing one thing. Can you hit that button? Hit it twice. Or not. It's a great video. Or perhaps we should skip it. No? Yes, it does. All right, PowerPoint. Now hit it again to play the video. And if you'll press and thank you. Oh, we can't hear her. And she's here. Beth James is saying how it would be wonderful to have a theater in Kernersville. She's lived here a long time. She could stand up and tell you about it herself. She's worked with many theater groups and knows the need. You may notice where she's standing. Amy Alvino with Summerfield. She talks about having a youth program with nowhere to put it on, that they would love to come to Kernersville. And if they had a regular place to be, they would use it all the time if it was affordable. And I love her talk about her youth program, which helps underprivileged youth, which is great, and we could have that here. I don't remember everything she says. She looks like she's gesturing with passion, though. Okay. Well, maybe we'll click through. Then there's Andy Esimundi. There's Marissa Ravenel. If you go, oh, nope, that's good. You're good. Okay, yay. All right. The top floor of Kerner's Folly is known as Cupid's Park. It was the first private community theater in the country. Years later, Justice Theater provided downtown entertainment. We are inviting you to honor those two institutions and in a public-private partnership to help us bring their ideals into the future to create the proposed Kernersville Justice Theater. Based on our blueprints, this is an artist rendering that pays homage to the architecture of the Folly, and the name captures the nostalgia of downtown entertainment. There is a need for a small, affordable performance venue in the Triad. Our location is perfect. We are the heart of the Triad, and Kernersville is the only town in North Carolina with a population over 25,000 people that does not have a dedicated performance venue. Such a place would have a number of uses. If you would be so kind as to go to the next slide. Thank you so much. There are around 10 small theater groups in the Triad looking for an intimate and affordable theater space. Add to that music groups, local entertainers, speakers, presenters, and our own community theater. These groups bring their own audience members, people who will dine, shop, and spend time in downtown Kernersville before and after performances. The theater could also be used for civic and municipality meetings and ceremonies, Chamber of Commerce sessions, small dance group recitals, indoor performances for the Spring Folly. I don't know, I'm spitballing, but a host of other possibilities. As you can see, we could use such a spoon to scoop up a lot of opportunities. And we believe the economic impact would be substantial. If you'll be so kind as to show the next slide. Thank you so much. According to a 2022 study by Americans for the Arts, 1/3 of cultural events attendees were visitors from outside the county where the event took place. These visitors, on average, spent over twice what their local counterparts spent. Here in North Carolina, arts generated $2.23 billion in economic activity. Arts organizations spent $1.5 billion. Arts audiences spent $1.18 billion. Arts generated $78.6 million in government tax revenues. There is a reason it is called show business. Now, please understand, this will be a rental facility. We're not proposing a civic center. We'd not be competing with larger venues or booking traveling shows or producing our own shows. We would be selling the shovels to the miners. The groups assume the financial risk, and rent is paid regardless of ticket sales. That's how the facility sustains itself. Would you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. But for this business plan to work, the theater must not be too large, 134 seats. This smaller size reaches our target market. Too large, and they can't afford it. A lower cost for renters allows us to fill it most weekends, making the venue self-sustaining. It keeps the cost of construction down. It keeps the cost of operation and maintenance low. This will be a proscenium arch stage with an orchestra pit, a lobby, and more bathroom stalls for women than men. Can I get a hallelujah? Hold for laughter. Oh, sorry. It will be a fully functioning theater, which will be superior to any of its current competition. Crossroads has already invested over $400,000 in this project. Next slide, please. We have the land, 1.3 acres located at 215 North Cherry Street in downtown Kernersville. The buildings were raised and a soil test was completed. We have architectural drawings and a site plan was drawn by Russell Radford. If you'll go to the next slide, thank you. What we're asking of the Board of Aldermen is to consider a public-private partnership with Crossroads Playhouse to collaborate on this theater. It's another investment in quality of life here, and in the end, it will become a town asset. The land and all improvements are to be donated to the town of Kernersville. After you've had your questions answered and performed your due diligence, if you feel like this is a worthy endeavor, we ask that you give us your formal support so that Crossroads Playhouse can conduct a capital campaign. We've been informed that residents with connection to capacity and local businesses will contribute only when they know the town is on board. Your approval and financial support will give the citizens the opportunity to show you how much they want the Kernersville Justice Theater. And our final slide, please. Together, Kernersville will enjoy a unique venue that will bring more art to the heart of the triad. And we have some lovely parting gifts for you, some brochures that summarize our presentation. Can I come through or I'll hand them to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie Jo. Thank you, everyone who came out in support. All right. I think we're down to item C now, consideration of a resolution renaming Eccles Circle to Kaizen Way.
Madam Mayor, this is being requested by the property owner. It is a road kind of behind John Deere, currently in existence, and they have purchased all the property back through there, and they are asking to rename the road to Kaizen Way. I know there are two representatives here from John Deere. If you have any questions of them, or I'll be glad to answer any as well.
Okay, does the board have any questions, any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, I've got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Thompson,
Second.
second by Alderman Pegram. Try to say Randy. That seems too informal. So, all in favor? It's unanimous. All right. Sound good? All right, thank you. All right, item D, consideration of an ordinance amending traffic schedule 4, curb restrictions of Chapter 9 of the Code of Ordinances for the town of Kernersville. Mr. Swisher?
Madam Mayor, this is a request from the Homeowners Association in Julian Pond. They've had some issues with vehicles, tractor trailers, larger type wreckers, and so forth, parking on the streets over there. They're large vehicles, but they're still in compliance with our ordinance, meaning that there's enough room between the vehicle and the other curb on the other side. But it's still, it's causing some issues on those streets over there. They have some narrow streets. We've done this in other areas of town where it's been an issue. So staff has went out and looked at the area. We don't have an issue with it as long as HOA is fine with it. They'll have to kind of deal with the neighbors when it comes up, I guess. But right now we're fine with recommending that, and then we'll monitor the area to make sure it's in compliance.
So who brought it up? The HOA?
The HOA president, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
There were 2 or 3 individuals. I think they contacted Alderman Apple to begin with. Alderman Apple then put them in contact with me, and we've been back and forth. I know Chief Tilley had an officer go out. I think maybe Chief Pittman went out as well to look to make sure that, you know, that they weren't violating our current ordinance. Had they been, then we could have cited them, and they were not. There is a provision in our ordinance that Mr. Hooker found the other day that they might be in violation of, but it's easier just to go in and have the no parking for the tractor trailers and so forth. Because though they're not, you know, they may have because the only way our ordinance addresses it is that it leaves enough room between the vehicle and the other side of the road at the curb. It does not address the sight distance and whatnot when they're pulling out of their driveway and everything. So that's the issue more so than not having enough road width. So this will address that, to limit that parking. Those larger vehicles won't be in there.
Are there any residents of Julian Pond here? If so, please raise your hand or stand up. Okay. All right, just because you had mentioned that, the HOA, and if there's some of the people who drive some of these vehicles, it'd be better to hear tonight from everybody. Okay, so no one from that neighborhood is here, Julian Pond.
They are not, and I think we told them that it would be on the agenda tonight, didn't we? We did. Yeah.
Okay, what would the board like to do? Further discussion?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm assuming that we've looked at their restrictive covenants, and that doesn't cover trailers or
It
large
does not.
vehicles.
That was the first thing that I told them is, look, if you have it in your restrictive covenants, you have more enforcement authority than we do. And they looked through it and they told Alderman Apple and myself that they did not have anything in their restrictive covenants that addressed it, and that to change their restrictive covenants, I think, is 67% of the homeowners. And she's like, we're doing good to get 20% of them to a board meeting. So I think the challenge there for them was getting enough homeowners really to show interest in it, to be there.
Thanks.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the proposed legislation?
So approved, yes.
Okay, got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham.
Second.
Second by Alderman Apple. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, item E, consideration of a resolution declaring May as Historic Preservation Month. Next year, we will likely put this on the consent agenda, but the clerk and I conferred on this, and because it requires an explanation this year, having newly elected board members, it's on the regular agenda. It's pretty straightforward. Every May is celebrated as Historic Preservation Month, and in Winston-Salem, there's some staff that works for the city county, and they plan some events that we participate in, and then they'll come to the May meeting to accept the resolution. It's a little bit similar to a proclamation, but it's just traditionally been a resolution. So proclamation, the mayor issues. A resolution is an act of the entire board. So you've got the wording of it. They've done local things in the past, like included programs at Kernersville on, I'm trying to think of some examples, but historic windows maybe, or a basket weaving class at the tobacco barn that's in the historic village behind the Kernersville Museum, graveyard or cemetery tours, and just different programs that are located in Kernersville. And last year during Spring Folly, they did a like a walk through the historic area of downtown Kernersville. So just different programs in Kernersville and the surrounding communities and in Winston-Salem in celebration of the month. Catherine's very familiar with it. Is there anything you'd like to add? Okay, so the town of Kernersville's always supported that, so I think it's a good resolution to adopt, and I'd ask for the board's name as Historic Preservation Month. There's no out-of-pocket expense to the town. It's simply just a ceremonial recognition.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham.
Second.
Second all around. Second by Alderman Sabanis. All in favor? It's unanimous. Okay, and next year we'll just put it on the consent agenda, so it'll be quick. All right. Item F, consideration of a resolution declaring personal property surplus and authorizing disposal of personal property. Mr. Swisher.
You have in your packet a list of items that we're asking to declare surplus and sell. If approved, we will sell these on May 12th, or we'll list them online on May 12th at Auctions International and Gov Deals. We do this about twice a year if we have enough items to do. It ranges anywhere from chainsaws to vehicles. Most of the time it's equipment that we've replaced, and for the most part it doesn't work like it should, so we'll sell it on Gov Deals. The vehicles usually are higher mileage vehicles. Some of them have been wrecked or damaged and whatnot. So I think this is the second one we've had this fiscal year. It'll be the last one we have this fiscal year, then we'll have one next year as well.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion by Alderman Sarah Sabanis.
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem, or Alderman Thompson. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, item G, consideration of an update to the personnel policy. Mr. Swisher.
This is an update around one of the provisions in our policy for FMLA. Bonding leave is one of the uses for FMLA. It can be either intermittent or all at one time. We currently allow intermittent FMLA leave for bonding with a child, and that's a mother or father, either one. We're asking the board to change this policy to where it must be taken consecutively and not intermittently. We ran into some issues in some departments where it's caused folks to have to come in to fill in the slot. You know, we ran into some overtime issues when it is taken intermittently. So you can do it either way. You can offer it either way, and we feel that it would be better to just offer that not intermittently anymore, and you have to take it consecutively. They'll still be able to take it. We're required by law to allow them to take it. They would still take the time, same amount of time. They just wouldn't be able to take 2 days here, 4 days there, whatever. It's what we've seen. They've kind of figured out the system, and they strategically take it around holidays and other times, and they might take a day or two. So we're just telling them you have to take it all at once. So I'd be glad to answer any questions. If you got any more detailed questions, Angie Whitley can give you more detail on it.
Are we able to, I know the intermittent is intermittent. Is there a way that we could potentially make it be like, if you're going to do intermittent, it has to be a week at a time instead of like a day here, day there?
That I don't know. Angie might know more. Angie, can you come up and answer that question? Were you able to hear the question?
Hi. It is up to our discretion. We put this request in front of the board just to be more consistent so that we wouldn't have as many staffing issues as we have in the departments that this has come up. So it is up to our discretion to be able to do that. If you don't vote for this, it's still the discretion of the department head. We were just trying to get this more consecutive across all departments.
So we could say what Alderman Sabanis asked. You can't take it one day here, one day there. You have to take it at least a week at a time. Or
So, I mean, nothing says that we couldn't. Right now, we can do that no matter how you vote, if it is for the care of a child. So that was the only time that we would want to allow the intermittent FMLA, because that is federal guidelines. Like I said, we just wanted to do it from a town standpoint to make it consistent across all departments.
So, since this is the first time we're hearing about this, is there a difference between care of a child and bonding?
Yes, it is. So care of a child usually has to do with a serious medical condition. It was also being used for instances where the spouse or other parent couldn't care for the child, like for daycare issues or being out of school, things like that. So the employee wanted the time off to be able to sit with the child. The care is for medical care of a child with a serious health condition.
Are you feeling like we need to know more about this?
I'm hesitant whenever it comes to anything like this on being overly restrictive because we don't know everyone's story and the situations. So yeah, I think maybe a little more time, figure out.
Oh, may I share some statistics?
Yes, please.
Okay. So over the last 3 years, we have had 28 cases where we had FMLA for the bonding of a child, for birth of a child. In the fire department, there were 10 for those 3 years. Police department was 16. And we had 2 other departments. One was recreation and one was public services. For the fire department, of those 10, 1 was consecutive, 9 were intermittent. For the police department, out of those 16, there were no intermittent and 16 consecutive. For recreation and public services, both of those were consecutive. So you can see that employees have the opportunity to do this. However, it is only being utilized and sometimes overly utilized in one of our departments, causing, Scott Alderman can talk to you about the impact of staffing that it has and trying to cover things on a short notice and making sure that we have the staffing to cover the community for when they need to come out and serve the public.
We're asking these questions because we have very, very little information about this, and the information we got just a few days ago. So we had not had access to this information for a big change potentially in the policy.
Yeah.
But that explanation helps a lot. Does anyone else, do you have any more questions, Sarah?
I do. Yeah, I know from experience that in a lot of cases, being able to take FMLA over a long-term illness when you're a caregiver, that's invaluable. My personal opinion is that it should be up to the department head, rather than kind of a blanket statement, because last thing you want to do is, for somebody to get disgruntled and vote with their feet and leave, and you lose a good person that way. But yeah.
I do want to clarify, this is only for bonding of a child. So anyone who has an employee with a serious health condition or a covered spouse, anything under the regulations of the federal guidelines, this does not impact them.
And they still have vacation time and they still have sick leave.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have a policy on any sort of paid parental leave outside of what is listed here on FMLA? Like if someone were to have a child, does the town offer any paid leave?
The town does not have parental leave at this time. We did start work on the personnel policy revisions last year, and then when we had to stop that process due to the change in the HR director. But that is something that the town is wanting to look at for parental leave, but at this time we do not.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I sort of agree with Alderman Pigram. I don't feel like we have, this may be a great change of policy, it may not be a great change of policy, but I feel like that the overall environment of town employment is important to our attraction and retention of good people. And I would just kind of like to have somehow, Curtis, a little more feedback from the department heads as to how their people feel about it. You know, if it's a benefit that we offer that they were relying on when they came to work here, or even, you know, I'm not sure.
Well, I can tell you the biggest department that's impacting the department head is requesting the change. That's why it's here. It's mainly impacting in the fire department, and it's causing issues with staffing. And Chief Alderman, if you'll come up and kind of address a little bit of it. But as you heard from the statistics, it really is where we've seen intermittent leave for bonding. And again, it's like Ms. Whitley said, it only covers FMLA leave for bonding with a child. If somebody is sick and at home and you need to go home and take care of them, you're free to do that. This is only to be out to bond with a child. So it's been requested, it was requested by the fire department, basically, to do that because of the issues that it's presenting with staffing. It's what we don't want to do is get caught in a situation where we have to take an engine company out of service because we have no one to staff it. And that's been close at times. I'll let Chief Alderman address that.
Is the fire department the only department that's experienced this intermediate leave?
They've experienced it the most. I think there was, in her statistics, I think the police departments had one person and the other two were all consecutive.
Right.
I guess part of what we're trying to understand is is it like a situation where what would work better is if, I mean, I almost hate to say number of weeks, but suppose like parents are kind of juggling who can be home and maybe, because I'm not seeing that there's a start time of like birth of the child. It's like starting this clock. It's just within the 1 year, right? So if somebody is wanting to be home the first 2 weeks and then not, come back to work, and then maybe the other spouse's leave has expired and they have to go back, and then maybe they want to be there with the child for like another couple weeks. I guess is there a way, if it would help, to make it like blocks of time instead of just a day here or a day there?
So to answer that question, I don't know enough about the law to be able to say yes or no. I think that's worthy of some more investigating. I learned a little bit about FMLA because of this issue, but I probably know enough to be dangerous at this point. So if I say something wrong, you jump up here and you get me straight. So we're in 2025, we had 5 personnel that requested intermittent FMLA leave for bonding with a child. Okay, this is where I got educated on the difference between medical reasons and intermittent leave for medical reasons, and then intermittent leave for bonding with a child. And we started having some staffing issues where
this came up and we were told by HR that this person was approved for FMLA leave for bonding of a child. And as we had more people in the department who, by the way, we're a very young department. And because of that, we've seen an influx of new parents in our department. And so when we started realizing that we were being short on staff and having to call people to work overtime, we started asking some questions as to what was going on. And so we reached out to HR, and they were gracious to be able to educate us on the FMLA law and the provision in the FMLA law for bonding with a child. To the employer can decide, is it intermittent or do you take it in one block? And so the way we looked at it was, the block would be better for us because it allows us an opportunity to be able to reach out to staff and find coverage for that person versus trying to find coverage sporadically and on short notice, and a lot of times during difficult times like weekends and holidays as well. Our personnel, they pick their days off a year in advance. And so in December of each year, they pick their time off for the upcoming year. We have a minimum staffing policy that drives to make sure that we have all the trucks operational each day. But that is pick time, holiday time, vacation time. And then we have the occasional somebody is sick. And so we have a little cushion in there on our daily staffing to accommodate when somebody is sick. But when there's an FMLA request, then we hire back overtime for that person or persons, depending on how many it is. And so it's hard to do when it's on short notice. And like I said, during those challenging times, to be able to find someone to cover for FMLA, plus have people off on their scheduled time, plus on top of that, maybe somebody out sick as well. So it does put us in a pretty bad situation with staffing and can cause situations to where we have to take a truck out of service.
Chief, is this a isolated period of time that went on in your department, or has this been an ongoing type situation?
It's been ongoing. So in 2025, like I said, we had 5. And so by allowing intermittent leave, that's through the course of that 12-month period. Yeah. And on top of that, we've had some additional folks that have entered into intermittent FMLA leave in 2026. And so there's some overlap with the 2025 request as well. And so so right now, we believe it's at least 7-ish.
With at least 2 to 3 more in the next 2 months.
And 2 to 3 more projected in the next few months.
And these are individuals or occurrences? When you said 5, is it 5 individuals?
Yes.
That's engaged in this?
Yes, employees. That's
Okay.
correct.
This might be a question for Angie. Is there anything that we could do to, I'm trying to wrap my head around this when it comes to like the person who's giving birth versus the person who's not. Could we have a separate, like the person who's giving birth maybe can have intermittent and sporadic doses, or like
I can tell you that the person giving birth always takes it consecutively.
Okay. Because I understand like the problem, like fire is very important. Can't have engines down and all of that. I think that I would feel more comfortable if we were able to still allow intermittent, but have it be you have to take a week at a time instead of just, because like school outage shouldn't be covered under FMLA. Like that's not a medical thing. I don't know. There's so much like legal stuff around FMLA.
There's a lot here. I mean, I feel like there ought to be an ability for somebody to take care of the person who gave birth. But then if you're trying to like get into a daycare and the child's too young, that can be an issue. So, but it would seem like it could be, 2 weeks and then you're back. And then if you take any more, it has to be within 1 year of the child, but that second thing maybe could be a block and not interfere with your operations because you would know about it way in advance. I mean, it just doesn't seem like 1 day at a time here and there is what the intent of this, I mean, FMLA ought to be. I mean, that seems like that's not, we're just wanting to grapple with something that seems very complex. We've heard about it extremely recently. And, you know, we support efficient operations of the departments, but we still want to be an outstanding employer. So maybe you need to find out more detail and help us out with a little more information.
Could we postpone voting on this until like next week, just to get a little more time? Is that something?
I was going to
I'd like
suggest
to
that,
marinate on this a little bit because
I was
really
going to
complex.
suggest that we go back, we get some more information, find out, can we say you have to take it in 2 week blocks, week block or whatever. We can get some more information and either put it back on for next week or put it back on for the last meeting in May.
Maybe the last meeting in May, see
I mean,
that.
there's not a time crunch on it, is it?
No, sir.
Okay. So we'll probably look at the last meeting in May and shoot for that and get you some more information out.
Because we will need to be solid on what the law is too, and to give you time to look into that, like what, and whether it's better to have one policy across the entire town, and whether or not it's okay for the department head to have a little discretion. Maybe the department head and the town manager in consultation could have discretion in specific planned circumstances. But maybe you can't do it that way. Maybe it has to be just one policy across the whole town. That's another problem we're grappling with.
Yeah, we'll get more information to you and get it to you before the May 29th, 28th meeting, whatever it is, and then we'll have it back on the agenda.
Mayor, maybe if we could have some options, each of which would comply with the law,
Okay.
but might give us some policy options. I think that would help me get my head around it a little bit, so we can pick
Yeah,
the
we can do
best
that.
option instead of just.
We'll give you as many as what we can kind of work with within the law.
Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you.
Do we need a motion to postpone?
No, you just don't take any action on it, and then we'll put it back on.
Okay.
We appreciate you bringing this to us. Can't make a decision on everything the first time we hear it, though. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay, we are to the consent agenda. All of these matters are considered to be routine by the Board of Aldermen and will be enacted by one motion with no separate discussion unless a board member or citizen so request, in which event the matter will be removed from the consent agenda and considered under the following item. Item A, consideration of a resolution declaring the badge and service weapon of Larry Griffith as surplus and authorizing disposal. All of the aldermen know this, but if there's a lot of extra folks visiting our meeting tonight, so that would be upon a retirement. So the badge and the service revolver are all fine. It's just the officer who has carried them is retiring after a long career with the town. So in order to have a retiree have their badge, we have to declare it surplus property of the town first. Okay, item B, approval of minutes for the February 25th closed session. C, approval of minutes for the March 25th regular meeting. Item D, approval of placeholder minutes for the April 7 regular meeting. E, for Forsyth County tax refunds. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to see any of these items removed from the consent agenda to be discussed and voted on separately? Seeing none, any board members would like to see anything removed? All right, do I have a motion to approve or adopt the consent agenda?
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Alderman Apple, second by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham. Moving on to briefing on the May 5th meeting agenda. Mr. Swisher.
Madam Mayor, do we have a vote?
All in favor? I didn't look, I just thought I heard voices. All right, very good. Everybody voted in favor, Mr. Hooker. All right, item 4, moving right on.
On the May 5th agenda, we have a couple of public hearings. The first one is down at the Lowe's Food Shopping Center. It's just adding, I think it's just adding a use to that. that for some reason was not in the original rezoning. I think it's indoor recreation is that the one that's being added.
But there's a karate place there.
Correct. That's why we're adding the use.
Okay.
So that there's another one, I think, wanting to go in, another indoor recreation asking to go in.
That's correct. That's when we discovered that the karate place had been issued a permit, not in conformance with the ordinance. So it's just for the building with the Lowe's Foods and the associated tenant spaces. It does not include the out parcels.
Okay, thank you.
And then I think item B is also adding a use in the business park behind Dario. So adding basically 2 uses there. Then into the public session, have a resolution setting the public hearing for voluntary annexation at Brookford Road containing 21 acres more or less. Have the budget amendment number 10 for this fiscal year. Item D is the emergency signal at Fire Station 42. We are ready to award the contract for that and start the installation of the signal. Item E is an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Winston for Kernersville Greenway Phase 1 study from Kernersville to East Forsyth High School. It's Piedmont Greenway interlocal agreement. And then the matching funds interlocal agreement is item F that goes along with that. And item G is the capital improvement plan for fiscal years 2026-27 through 2030-2031. And I think the CIP and the budget amendment have not been loaded yet, but with any luck, they'll be loaded tomorrow. And then have the town manager's report, which at this time I don't know of anything. And then matters to be presented by the town attorney and the mayor and board.
Does anyone have any questions looking ahead about any of those items that we'll be looking at on Tuesday?
Is the capital improvement plan the same as the comprehensive plan thing that's been going on? Okay, different? Okay.
No, the CIP is the, all the equipment for each department for the next 5 years, and also any infrastructure improvements, new buildings, so forth. We're required by state statute to do it every year. This year will probably be the first year we actually have the equipment on it in fiscal year 26-27 that will actually be purchased, since we've gotten through the draft budget and know what we're getting. And then the rest of it is pretty much, if everything goes well and we have funding and whatnot, that's what will be purchased in that year. Usually does not work out that way, but we put it out there. Sometimes we'll actually purchase some equipment earlier if a piece of equipment breaks and we have to have it. Then we'll go ahead and purchase it. If we get some grant funding or some funding from the state for something, we may do a project a little earlier than what it is on the CIP.
Okay, thanks.
That's a good question, though. But Curtis is exactly right. It's sort of a this year snapshot and then a look ahead, just kind of planning out the needs. And sometimes that can be something that's required in order to, maybe there's a grant for public safety funds or some kind of funding opportunity needs to have been included on our CIP. Any other questions about the upcoming agenda? That brings us to the town manager's report tonight.
I do not have anything.
Okay. Mr. Powell, do you have a item?
Madam Mayor, we have a need for a closed session tonight.
Okay. Then matters to be presented by the mayor and Board of Aldermen. Mr. Thompson?
I do have something I want to bring up. I was talking to Ernie. We've had a lot of people asking about the Greenway and what our plans were the Greenway. And I was talking to Ernie about a master plan for the Greenway. And also talking to him, and he mentioned there's a lot of grants out there that can possibly help build the Greenway. Get money for the Greenway. But first we have to have a master plan for all that. I think there's 3 different outlets of where the Greenway is going based on where it is in Kernersville. I asked him to price what a master plan would cost to put together, because we can't start asking for grants until we know, until we have a master plan. And that, I think Ernie quoted around $60,000 to $80,000 to create the master plan for the Greenway. So I'd like to bring that up and maybe consider paying for that so we can move forward with a master plan for the Greenway, so we can get moving on possible grants or federal money to.
Are you wanting to put that in the upcoming budget?
That'd be great, sure.
What do you think, Curtis?
That's up to you all. If you all vote to put it in there, it will be in there. Not sure exactly how we'll make that happen, but we'll put it in there. And there may already be somewhat of a master plan for the Greenway. See Catherine shaking her head. Chris might know as well. So there might be one that we can kind of piggyback on and not be quite as costly.
So I was actually meeting with Dorn today about another project, but brought it up. And so Summit was one of the ones I asked for a quote from. And he did mention that we do have an old layer in the GIS Public Services that has layers of Greenway layouts and stuff. He says, but it's old. It's not the same as a Greenway master plan. I don't know if it's the new comp plan is asked for it or not. It's mentioned in my master plan, the one that was adopted last year, to do a sub master plan for greenways, because there's a lot of grants out there that's outside DOT money. It's, you have DOT stuff, and then you have outside grants that the state and federal governments have put money into to do greenways. But they do all ask for a master plan that shows where you plan on putting your greenways based on available easements, greenway donation sites, those type of things, to have links so they at least know where they lay out. So when they grant you funds, you have a plan in place. Just like Parks and Rec master plan when you do all Parks and Rec ones. So that's where we were talking about that. So just to give some clarity.
We probably, Catherine, Chris, Ernie, myself, we probably need to get together and see what we currently have. For instance, the one from where the current Greenway ends goes across down behind Old Orchard and over. I think there's somewhat of a plan for that one already in place. So we'll get together before the May meeting and before the budget's finalized, kind of see what we have and see what we need, and we'll get back with the board with an update and see if you all want to move forward with it. And if so, we'll put it in the budget, or if we got anything left in anybody's department this year, we can encumber and carry it forward and pay for it that way.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, Ernie.
That's a good idea. There was actually one, like you're saying, mapped out. The greenway that got built isn't really in the location that was first looked at for a greenway. Some of the right-of-way actually was not in a great place to have a greenway. So it got changed quite a bit.
I know the kind of the second phase of it follows a little bit of the sewer right-of-way, similar to how the first one did. So there's a little bit of a plan there. There's one for kind of a plan. I don't know how detailed plan it is that goes out to Trad Park in that area. So we just need to look and kind of see what we do have.
Sounds good. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Pegram? Thanks.
No comments?
Okay.
No, ma'am, I don't have anything.
Mrs. Banis?
I have I went to the Kernersville 155 and America 250 stuff. That was great. I want to give a shout out to everybody who worked very hard on that, went to all the events. My 6-year-old is now obsessed with drone shows, so thanks for that, Ernie. But I know that was a labor of love that the town put on, and I'm really appreciative of all of the hard work and the long hours that everyone put in for that. And looking forward to Spring Folly this weekend.
Absolutely. And General Gorham and I can remind you that there will be another drone show June 19th.
We will be there.
Harmon Park.
Bells and whistles on.
And the Kiwanis Club will be there to give out free books in celebration of Juneteenth.
Fantastic.
Yep. I think last year we had 400 people
Over 700.
You come forward. We had people watching fireworks and drone shows that were not even at the park. They found other viewing locations too.
So, magic of having Placer AI, I can track exactly how many people were in there. In that footprint, we had over 618 people last year at Harmon Park. It was 200 more than the year before that. So it was a big attraction. We're getting a lot of traction with the Juneteenth each year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this year, Juneteenth is going to be on a Friday. So
Correct.
that's-
So this year's Friday, we've been trying to do Juneteenth proper, which is the 19th of June. Next year falls on Saturday, and we're working, already speaking with the Triad Cultural group, and we'll do it in conjunction with each other to make sure we're not competing. So we've got the next 2 years kind of planned out.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank all the town staff and the civic groups and the nonprofits, Kerner's Folly, the Chamber, the museum, Botanic Gardens, Public Services, Police and Fire, everyone who helped, IT department for the great KBL 155 website and all the great local history. So I'd like to thank everyone who worked, and the volunteers. There were a lot of volunteers who helped that day as well from civic organizations, civic and educational organizations in our community. So I appreciate that. Some women's club, churches, and the Joseph Kerner chapter of the DAR helped out quite a bit. And some chamber volunteers helped with various things that benefited children and the community that day. So we really appreciated everybody's participation and involvement to make that a success. I'm glad your children enjoyed it. All right, it looks like we have need for a closed session. So do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I hereby make a motion that the board goes into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged, including but not limited to the BOMA North Carolina LLC versus Town of Kernersville, and pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A5 to establish or to instruct the public body's staff or negotiate agents concerning the position to be taken on by or on behalf of the public body in negotiating the price and other material terms of a contract or proposed contract for the acquisition of real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gorham. Second by Alderman Sabanis. All in favor? It's unanimous. Good evening and welcome back to the regular meeting of the Kernersville Board of Aldermen. Is there any further business before the board this evening in open session? If not, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion by Alderman Thompson, second by Alderman Sabanis. All in favor? It's unanimous. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for joining us.